Originally written in 1944, Sirius is the story of a dog with human-like intelligence being raised by a family as one of their own. An uplifted dog, he is protected and shepherded by the humans who raised him and call him family. Set in North Wales during the early 40s, it takes place on the farms and other places nearby, eventually expanding outside to the world at large. The story is told by a narrator, who regales the reader with the story of Sirius, a sheepdog with human intelligence, and a scientist's daughter Plaxi, who are raised together as family. A scientist named Thomas Trelone in North Wales sets out to develop a program to increase the cognitive power of dogs. His greatest success lies in Sirius, a super sheepdog who possesses intellectual capabilities far beyond your standard canine. Recommended by my writing group, I started to read this book hoping for a bit of a more active protagonist. The book seems to run against the common wisdom of showing rather than telling, almost entirely consisting of the story of Sirius being told to us by the narrator, who relates the story as a third person having observed the events we are reading about. While it competently tells the tale of a dog with above-average intelligence interacting and learning about the human world, it is somewhat difficult to read, as with little dialogue in the traditional sense, the majority of the book consists of walls and walls of paragraph and description. With such lengthy paragraphs telling the narrator's observations of Sirius's thoughts and feelings, I found myself more than once considering reading something else simply to get away from the endless blocks of words on every page. While not a comment on its quality, it certainly points to an unfortunate consequence of its layout which does little towards my ability to recommend it. The author does an excellent job of describing the world of a sheepdog and a canine's difficulties in interacting with the world around him. But the story is written as a person's interpretation of the events, as well as having read the notes left behind by the superdog, so it feels somewhat like you're being told a story by a third person. I think this tale might have benefited from actually being from the point of view of the dog himself, at least for me. I found myself often frustrated by the attitude of the human characters towards Sirius, either being dismissive of his desires or just outright behaving like his needs don't matter. I'm sure some of this is due to their general prejudices against normal dogs, whether they just assume that they're there for their convenience, but nevertheless, it is most frustrating to be reminded of it throughout the story. More than once, Thomas declares what Sirius's future will be like, with no regard for whether Sirius desires the proposed course of action. One thing the book does well, though perhaps not by intention, is to communicate the frustration I imagine that the deaf and mute must feel in their attempts to interact with the world around them. Nothing must be more frustrating than to wish to be understood, and for most around you to not even make the effort in kind. Though overall I found the book to be competently written, the ending was a bit of a bummer, and it just kind of left me with a feeling of being glad it was done. It might be a good book for others, but it definitely wasn't a book that really resonated with me, other than reminding me about people's less positive qualities and how selfish and arrogant it was of Sirius's creator to make a being aware enough to understand the world, but with no real goal for his destiny other than perhaps to be a curiosity at best. Too human to be a dog, and too dog to be a human. It just reminds me of how people tend to think of the universe as to how it suits them, rather than the responsibility they have to their fellow inhabitants of the world we share. In the long run, the book made me think, so I suppose mission accomplished, but would I recommend it? I don't know. I'll leave this one up to you. If you like werewolves, check out my book Blue Moon, available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, click the subscribe button and leave a comment below. See you next time.